y'all, it's Miss Sanders coming to you with another video in the same work packet of living within your means. So we've been talking about personal budgets, and you just finished the getting started and listing this family's current expenses. Now you should be on activity 3.1, which is on page 287. So let me walk you through it. It's a lot of words. Don't feel like that. Two types of expenses are fixed expenses and variable expenses, which we have learned about. Fixed expenses, if you remember, are expenses that don't change from month to month. Variable expenses, that they can be different from month to month, or they do change. So we've already talked about this. We've already learned about this. So let's just kind of dig into it. In the getting started, you created a list of expenses for a family of 4 to include in their budget. Consider the family's expenses. Sort the expenses you listed into categories of fixed expenses and variable expenses. So we're going to make variable expenses yellow, fixed expenses pink. That's just what I did. You can do what you want to do. So what this is asking you to do is take the 5 things that you listed under the getting started, which are their current expenses, and we're going to categorize them. So the first thing we listed is the place they live. You might have picked home. That is a fixed expense because that is something that doesn't change from month to month. I mean, yes, we move, but we don't move every month. We might move every year, every 2 years. Some of us have never moved, but that's still something that is a fixed expense. So you need to take the rest of yours that you listed and put them under variable or fixed, and you should have 5 total. And remember, they should be different from what Miss Sanders has. So I'll share with you what I picked. I picked home, which is a fixed expense, food, which is a variable expense because depending on what I want to eat, maybe I want seafood, whatever, that could change. I picked my car. My car does not change every month. It's the same price that I pay. My insurance does not change every month. And then I put entertainment because entertainment can change. Like maybe one month I want to go on a vacation to Vegas, which can be expensive. But another month, I might want to just go to Six Flags, which is way less expensive than Vegas. Or maybe I want to go to the movies. So my entertainment budget is variable. It can be different. So now, B, which expenses do you believe will make up the largest part of your budget? Explain your reasoning. So I want you to stop real quick and think about that. What makes up the largest part of your budget? Pause the video right now and think about that. Hopefully you paused the video and you thought about what was the largest part of your budget. Remember, your budget is different from my budget because you came up with your own 5 things. But in my budget, my home is the largest expense or largest part of my budget because it costs the most. It costs the most. And it's the most important because we need a place to live. So you take a moment, hopefully you wrote down what costs the most in your budget. Number 2, create a list of future expenses that the family should save for. Rank them in order of importance and explain your reasoning. So with this one, I want you to think of at least 3 things. I would like you to come up with 4, so at least 5. So at least 3, but no more than 5. Future expenses that a family might need. And remember, we talked about in the last video that future expenses are things that that you think about, like that might happen later in life. So for example, I save a future expenses like my savings account because I never know what's going to happen, or my retirement fund, or I might not know if something might break down in my house. So think about those things. So I would say one of my future expenses for me is a retirement fund, so that whenever I'm done working, I have money to live off of. I want you to stop the video, think about those funds, those future expenses that you might need. List at least 2 more up to 4. All right, if you're back, it's because you listed your future expenses and you paused the video to do so. I can't wait to look at what you put. Number 3, the Gonzalez family received their monthly statement from the bank that showed how they spent and saved their $3,500 in earnings during the month. Analyze their expenses represented in the graph. So the one thing that I do want you to know with this is whatever you set for your budget, that is always your whole, because that's the only thing that you have to spend. You have no more to spend than whatever your budget is. And the Gonzalez family, their budget is $3,500. So that's their whole. And this is their pie chart that shows what they're spending. Now, I want you to take a look at this pie chart. The whole pie chart, which is 100%, represents the $3,500 that they're spending. But they don't have any prices. So we're going to have to analyze and just kind of figure out how much they spent and saved in with each one of these pieces. The best way to do that is to use circle graphs. I have some for you here if you need some in the classroom. But I want to kind of show you, this circle is broken into 4 pieces. So this is a fourth. One of these is a fourth. I'm looking at the home, and it's close to a fourth, but it's a little bit wider than a fourth. So I might say that it could be a third. So here's a circle that's broken into 3 pieces. So the home might actually be a third. Let's see if I can take this apart. Yes, so look at that. It's close to a third. So their home is a third of their income. It's the largest part of their income. The savings, it looks like it's the smallest part of their income, which is good. It's okay because it's a future expense. You don't have to save. You should save, but you don't have to. So what I want you to do is just kind of think through what fraction each one of these are. The home is a third. The savings, if you know your fractions, you can kind of think about what is a fourth, what is a sixth, what is a fifth. I also have an anchor chart for you in the room to use. That's to the left of Miss Sanders' desk, or if you're looking at Miss Sanders' desk, it's right to the right of it. Also, I have some pieces for you to use in the classroom. So if you ask for them, I can let you use those so that you can match these up and see what fraction of this budget is the Gonzalez family spending. Let's turn the page. You can pause if you need to figure out that activity. I'm going to go ahead and continue. A, identify the fixed and variable expense in the Gonzalez family budget. So remember, we talked about fixed and variable expenses here. So you want to, your fixed variables don't change, your variable expenses do change. So I want you to list them. What are the fixed? And what are the variable? Please take a moment, pause the video, and list them. And remember, you're listing it from the Gonzalez family budget. What is the home? What is the savings? What is the auto, entertainment, bills, and food? You're going to list which ones are fixed, which ones are variable. B, what conclusions can you make about the family's expenses for the month? So when you look at them, what do you think about? Do you think about what do they spend the most on? What do they spend the least on? Do they have more fixed expenses? Do they have more variable expenses? Go ahead and write a couple sentences or one sentence about what conclusion you're making about their expenses for the month. C, estimate the amount of money in each category. Show all of your work and explain your reasoning. So when we're estimating the amount of money in each category, you first have to go back and write your fractions. So because the home is a third, and of course I didn't tell you what these were because you're going to have to estimate them for yourself. your home is a third of the budget. So if the home is a third of the budget, then you would take 3,500, which is your whole, and divide it by 3. And that would give you a third of your budget. Oh, I wrote it on the wrong spot. And why am I dividing it by 3? Because the home is a third of the budget. So I want you to go through, list each one, savings, entertainment, food, go through and write all of them down. And of course, I'm not writing them down, but you should write them down and use as much space as you need. You can use some space to this side. And then whatever you estimated, if it was a fifth of the budget, then divide it by 5. If you thought it was a sixth of the budget, divide it by 6. Whatever you thought, go through and estimate what is the cost of the home. What is the cost of the savings? What is the cost of the food? And everything should start from the whole, which is 3,500, because that's the whole budget. You do not have to do E, so cross that out. And then you do not have to do D. So I look forward to seeing how much you estimated that their home cost, their savings cost, their food cost, their entertainment cost, everything that is in their pie chart, their auto. And remember, you can ask Ms. Sanders for her fraction pieces if you need help to see what they are. All right, see you in the next video.